Well, good morning, everyone. This is pretty amazing. I just want to thank you all for being here this morning and joining us for Roseville's 2019 State of the City. I hope you don't mind if I take my glasses off so I can read my speech. I'm not quite as good as the two people that came before me when it comes to winging it. To my fellow elected officials, thank you for your commitment to our city and our region. The way we continue to come together on issues that are critical to us as a community and a region provides a strong springboard to our collective success. Welcome to our Roseville residents, many of whom serve on our city's boards and commissions and neighborhood associations. And welcome also to our leaders from local government, business, education, and our community's nonprofits. I want to especially thank Adventist Health for hosting us in your new headquarters. It's a privilege to get a look inside this beautiful building. It's a testament to your mission, the way the building and campus are designed as a hub for innovation, learning, connection, inspiration, and collaboration. Thank you again for having us. Adventist Health has had its corporate headquarters in Roseville for, as you heard, over 40 years. I want to thank you for continuing to invest in our community. Your presence is an integral part of our healthy city. May I take just a minute to acknowledge my wife, Lisa. Lisa and I have been married for 33 years, and also our middle daughter, Ashley, and her husband, our son-in-law, Andrew. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your support. Lisa and I... The more you clap, the more water I can drink. Might be a problem later. Lisa and I moved to Roseville in 1987. We were looking for a place to put down roots and raise our family, where it felt like a community. We could not have made a better decision than to settle in Roseville. No matter where I go, I hear two common themes stated in a variety of ways: that it's a high quality of life in Roseville and the strong sense of community that attracts businesses and residents to call our city home. So I'd like to start by sharing with you some of the ways in which Roseville continues to shine on a national stage. Roseville ranked in the top 100 cities in the country for safety this year. We ranked in the top 30 healthiest places to live in America this spring. Roseville ranks in the top 25 cities to retire in America. We were named an age-friendly city by the World Health Organization. We're consistently ranked in the top 10 cities in California to raise a family. The county we all live in, Placer County, was named one of the 50th healthiest counties in the United States this year. And I'm happy to announce today that we just earned another recognition. 2 days ago, we learned that we are the only California region named to a list of the 10 best places nationally for millennial mothers to call home. Some of the factors that earned us this distinction include access to career growth, health care, child care, earning potential, and relative affordability. In years past, we've been named one of the top 35 places to live in America, one of the top 50 cities for female entrepreneurs to launch a business, among the top 3 cities for millennial homebuyers, and one of the 50 cities with the best public schools in America. We've also earned recognition as one of the most playful cities with the most playgrounds per capita in California. Let's give ourselves a hand. And we've been recognized as one of the most digitally friendly cities and one of the most engaging communities for interacting with city government. That engagement shows up in so many ways. We see it in our volunteers. We have 82 residents serving on our city boards and commissions. We have 400 active volunteers helping our departments provide services in our city. They volunteer in more than 15 programs, contributing over 28,000 hours this past year. Now, if you do the math and multiply that 28,000 hours just by the minimum wage, that's over $336,000 volunteers have donated to our community. These volunteers have a deep love for our community giving their own time to serve our neighborhoods and our neighbors. We see strong engagement with our nonprofits. We're fortunate to have so many dedicated nonprofit organizations serving a variety of needs in our community, our country, and our world. The city strengthens the efforts of nonprofits by offering a competitive grant process each year. Grants are primarily funded by the Citizens Benefit Fund, which was established as a trust in 1993 with the proceeds from the sale of the city-owned Roseville Hospital to Sutter Health. A portion of the interest earned each year by the trust is made available for grants with the purpose of improving the quality of life for citizens in Roseville. This year, based on recommendations from our Grants Advisory Commission, the City Council awarded over $350,000 to 15 nonprofit organizations that are addressing a wide span of social needs, including disability awareness, hunger, homelessness, and veterans' needs. We saw strong engagement through our Engage Roseville community outreach effort. We heard from thousands of people in person at community meetings, online through polls and surveys, at council coffees, by email, and by phone. Residents provided thousands of data points about community priorities and service levels that informed our budget process. We also heard that after 10 years of cutting expenses and reducing service levels, residents wanted to maintain service levels and see additional funding in priority areas. Our City Council gave the community the option to raise new revenue through a half-cent sales tax, and voters approved it by a wide margin last November. It was the first time in Roseville's 110-year history that a sales tax measure was placed on the ballot. And this summer, we began receiving the initial revenue generated by that new tax, which went into effect in April. It's allowed us to restore some services, maintain others, and add funding in priority areas. We've hired additional police officers, kept fire trucks in service, started construction on Central and Harry Crabb citywide parks, now that we have funds for maintenance, restored and added library hours, brought back the 4th of July fireworks, which everybody loved, and goat grazing to control thatch in our open space areas, which everybody loved even more than the fireworks. And maintained funding for code enforcement, recreation programs, and street maintenance. We've also paid down retirement benefits and built an economic stabilization fund that will help us maintain service levels during an economic downturn. I think you deserve to give yourselves a round of applause for that. One of the interesting outcomes of Engage Roseville was to learn that residents' approval of city government actually increased during the process. It demonstrated to us that the more context and awareness we can provide to our community about issues we are facing, the more involvement and support we see for the course of action that results. On a regional level, partnerships help us thrive in many areas. Our city has greater success when we act in our collective best interests rather than going it alone. Economic development is one example. Companies we attract in the region will locate in one area and hire people who live, shop, and play throughout the region. That's why Roseville supports the regional economic development research and work of 3 heavy hitters in the capital region: Greater Sacramento Economic Council, Valley Vision, and the Sacramento Area Council of Governments. We participate in forums, programs, and initiatives, including hosting site selectors from around the country this past year. This group helps businesses make decisions about the best places for the companies to establish or expand operations. They were particularly impressed with our quality of life, business environment, and city-owned utilities. Roseville continues to share best practices with business leaders and policymakers throughout the region on affordable housing, redevelopment, transportation, economic development, and other challenges we all face. Our partnerships with business, educational, and nonprofit groups are also integral to Roseville's success as a community. We work closely with the Roseville Area Chamber of Commerce, as we have on this event, the Sacramento Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce, Invest Health, our school districts, and the Roseville Coalition of Neighborhood Associations. Through our Invest Health partnership, we are working on ways to improve our core neighborhoods, including safety, lighting, and parks. We are celebrating two I knew I wasn't going to be able to say this right, sesquicentennials this year. Does anybody know what the sesquicentennial is? I'll tell you. Our own Roseville School District began in 1869 with 44 students and has grown to over 11,000 students. And Union Pacific Railroad is marking the 150th anniversary of the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, a development that spurred Roseville's formation as a significant hub of transportation and commerce. Collaboration has become a central theme to our future progress. We meet quarterly with our neighboring cities to coordinate on issues such as economic development, transportation, water reliability, affordable housing, and homeless issues. These are also some of the issues on the table in our monthly meetings with Placer County to ensure that new development planned by the county on our city borders will be mitigated. This is because growth in unincorporated Placer County has the potential to impact our city services, including police, fire, roadways, parks, and libraries. Our goal is to ensure that the impacts of unincorporated development on Roseville services will be thoroughly addressed. This is consistent with our long-held philosophy that development must pay its own way. As we look at the business climate in Roseville, we see indications of very strong demand. Space is at a premium across all sectors of Roseville's commercial property. Office space is at 91% occupancy. Industrial space is 98% filled and remains a premium in the city. Retail space shows a strong 96% occupancy, confirming Roseville as the region's retail powerhouse. There are plenty of reasons for this. Among them is that we have a well-educated and well-trained workforce, which attracts employers. 95% of our adult residents have a high school diploma or higher, and 39% have a bachelor's degree or higher. Our Roseville Joint Union High School District, along with Sierra College and William Jessup University, develop innovative programs to link students with employers to learn about a variety of careers, from healthcare to information technology to the construction trades. With that, Roseville's job growth remains strong, with an unemployment rate at 3.5% and a projected workforce growth rate of nearly 13% over the next 5 years. Along with education, the ecosystem that creates a healthy business environment involves the public and private sectors. The City of Roseville is committed to creating a city where business prospers. With greater access to capital, entrepreneurs and small businesses can pursue more opportunities, and that's why our City Council approved an important tool this year to promote economic growth and job creation. In partnership with regionally headquartered banks, the City of Roseville is investing $10 million for small business development. The Roseville Advantage financing program puts dollars back into the local economy, delivering additional resources to Roseville businesses to expand and hire more employees. Over the course of 3 years, small businesses can apply for loans through American River Bank, First Northern Bank, Five Star Bank, and River City Bank. You probably would also be interested to know that the program puts no tax dollars at risk. Money invested comes from cities' short-term investment funds. City funds will be fully insured and returned to the city upon completion of the program. It's a win-win for the city and our businesses, and to that end, it's been another strong year for our economy in Roseville. Excuse me. Thanks for applauding so I could take a drink. People want to live here, and businesses want to locate and expand here. Roseville remains one of the most desirable cities in the region to live. For 2020, Single-family home permits are projected to increase 13% over the historical average of 900 per year, as new subdivisions in the Sierra Vista and Creekview specific plans and Fitiment Ranch area come online. The city conservatively estimates roughly $100 million in total commercial construction and tenant improvements for this fiscal year. That's $100 million, as we continue to see strong investment in Roseville's commercial sector. This past year, work was completed on many new, large, long-term commercial projects. These include this incredible building we're here today. Adventist Health constructed their corporate headquarters, which we really appreciate your investment in Roseville. New medical office buildings and a new parking garage for Kaiser Permanente's Riverside campus that had its grand opening last Friday. A medical supply distribution facility for McKesson's new Roseville location. The opening earlier this year of the first phase of new apartments in Campus Oaks. 2 new hotels that opened next to Top Golf, including one that had ribbon cutting yesterday, and the new Villa Sport Athletic Club facility that opened this summer. And there's a lot more in the works. We're seeing a significant expansion at Sutter Roseville Medical Center with its acute care unit and emergency medicine department. Grading is underway at the Sierra Vista and Creekview specific plan sites. UC Davis's medical offices in Roseville are providing clinical and outpatient care. The home furnishings and decor store Living Spaces will open near Topgolf, along with Out of Bounds Brewery and its outdoor social area. A new 160,000 square foot event center and sports facility at the Placer County Fairgrounds, now known as At the Grounds, will help fill our hotels, shops, and restaurants. It's the result of a strong partnership between Placer Valley Tourism, the City of Roseville, and Placer County. And we're happy to welcome new businesses to our community. Penumbra chose Roseville to manufacture its medical devices to help stroke patients. They brought 250 jobs and will be adding more in future years to their site on the former Hewlett-Packard campus. Restaurant Depot chose Roseville to open its distribution center. It provides restaurants throughout the region with supplies they need, and Roseville receives a portion of the sales tax it generates. Annexter opened its new offices in August, growing our tech sector with 150 new employees, focusing on network security, electronics, and utility solutions. At the Westfield Galleria at Roseville, we're looking forward to the redevelopment of the Sears site. The first floor will have entertainment from a company called Round One, with bowling, darts, pool, and an arcade. I'm ready for that. The second floor will have a 14-screen movie theater and space for a restaurant tenant. Our faith-based community is also expanding. Last month, St. Anna's Greek Orthodox Church broke ground for its new shrine to accommodate a growing congregation. In May, the Sikh Temple of Roseville celebrated its 10th anniversary with a groundbreaking for its expansion. On a daily basis, the temple provides free meals to anyone in the community, and it has welcomed people from nearby communities displaced by wildfires and the threat of floods. This year, the Roseville Seventh-day Adventist Church celebrated its 100th anniversary. It started in 1919 with 7 people who met in a home on Clinton Avenue before building its first church in 1930. It served as a catalyst for other churches and charitable initiatives in the region. Bayside Church has expanded its campuses and services in Roseville and continues to make a difference in our community with its annual Service Day projects. Rema Christian Center celebrated its 15th anniversary in Roseville and its focus on community service, including providing clothing and food. And I hope I'm going to do this right. And Maranatha Volunteers International, which is headquartered in Roseville, celebrated its 50th anniversary last month. This faith-based organization has relied on more than 80,000 people to build homes, schools, churches, and water wells in 88 counties throughout the world. Okay, turning to our downtown area, which is a very important part of what I run for council about. The improvements downtown continue to be nothing short of remarkable. And if you haven't been down there lately, please go downtown. I've been involved with this process for the past 2 decades, and I'm proud of how we've been able to achieve the vision we developed in collaboration with our community. The level of transformation that has occurred takes years to fund and implement, and we're not done. Last year in our downtown, the city opened a new parking garage and a new fire station. Progress continued this year in so many ways. Last month, we celebrated the opening of 3 new bridges across Dry Creek to connect Vernon Street Town Square and our downtown with the beauty and the neighborhood surrounding Royer Park. We also opened a new segment of trail that links Roseville to the region with alternative transportation pathways on bike and by foot. And this was all done without using general fund dollars. We enjoyed an artistic revival in our downtown as artists produced 7 murals with support of Blue Line Arts, neighboring businesses, and the city. It was a draw for people to watch the murals being produced, and the results have added new color, new life, and a stronger sense of place to our downtown. We've had more services and facilities come to our downtown this year as well. On Tuesday, we opened our new Passport Service Center by the post office on Vernon Street. Demand for passports has been high, and our city clerk staff receives rave reviews on the customer service and easy-to-navigate process they provide. That's what led us to expand this important service to our community. Wednesday night, our City Council approved the purchase and sale agreement for 320 Vernon Street for future development of a mixed-use project with 72 hotel rooms, 20 condominiums, and a rooftop restaurant right across the street from the Vernon Town Square. In January, we celebrated the opening of Losi Apartments on Vernon Street. It's a 58-unit mixed-use project by Mercy Housing that is vital to providing affordable housing options to all members of our community, like seniors, persons with disabilities, and entry-level and service sector workers. Maida Housing is currently constructing 65 affordable units in historic Old Town with 3,000 square feet of commercial space as well. And the city is partnering with St. Anton on the 80-unit Junction Station project in historic Old Town. This workforce housing site at Pacific Church and Washington Streets will offer studio and 1-bedroom housing units to young professionals and small families working in our local businesses. Since 1989, Roseville's affordable housing policies have produced over 3,000 affordable housing units. I think we deserve a round of applause for that. We have additional projects with affordable housing units underway or in process in our downtown and at Campus Oaks on the former Hewlett-Packard site. This is quite a feat at a time when affordable housing is a critical issue in our state. It's difficult to build due to necessary subsidies, partnerships, and need for many funding sources. But it's critical to the health of the community and to help prevent homelessness. Our City Council is grateful to have strong partners in the development community and committed city staff who help to make this happen for our residents. As you can see, the state of our city is strong today, but we're well aware that we can't rest on our laurels. With the tremendous growth that's occurred over the last 20 years, we have thousands of new residents who don't remember when the roads and highways seemed oversized since they were built for development that was just getting started. Remember driving down Roseville Parkway when you were the only car on the road? Anyone who's driven the congested I-80 Highway 65 interchange in the past couple of years has wondered, when will things improve? We have a ray of hope now with the completion of much-needed improvements on northbound Highway 65. Drivers got some relief a few weeks ago when the first phase opened, but only for northbound traffic. The project was completed on time and on budget with expert management from Placer County Transportation Planning Agency and the tremendous support and partnership we have with Caltrans. It's an important step, but still it's only a drop in the bucket. The problem remains that there's no viable funding source for the $400 million worth of upgrades still needed to bring transportation infrastructure up to date in South Placer County. We're working on legislation to help us fund this, and a few weeks ago, Assembly Bill 1413 was passed by both houses of the state legislature, and it's now awaiting the governor's signature. If you know Governor Newsom, please call him and tell him to sign AB 1413. So stay tuned. We're at a critical juncture in our region's development. What we decide to do as a community about transportation will set the course for prosperity or frustration for decades to come. Even if additional funding is approved by voters in 2020, it will still take several years to see the projects come online. That is why our window of opportunity is now. It's another example of how we work together as a region to address issues that affect all of us. So a key leader in the way we work together as a region is our city manager, Dominick Casey. He's been on the job for over a year and has a pivotal role in our future. I served on the city council that hired Dom, and I can tell you that he impressed the council with his leadership, vision, energy, and commitment to our community for the long term. Dom moved to Roseville in 2011 to be our Parks, Recreation, and Libraries Director after 10 years in various management positions with the city of Henderson, Nevada. 4 years ago, he became Roseville's Assistant City Manager, overseeing police, fire, public works, park, recreation and libraries, and central services. Dom lives in Roseville with his wife and 4 children. We're pleased to have Dom running the day-to-day operations of our city, and I'd like to invite him to the podium now.
Wow, there's a lot of people here. I didn't look back on purpose. So thank you, John, very much for that warm welcome. I have to tell you, looking around this room, I can't help but be excited, right? I see community leaders, I see business leaders, I see nonprofit leaders, I see state leaders, and I have to tell you, from my experience of over 20 years in municipal government, this is how good government happens. It's at this intersection where we're walking around, we're talking, we're sharing ideas, we're engaging with one another. That's where good government happens. And I got to tell you, I'm very impressed this morning, and I can't help but be energized. And I'm sorry, Megan, for going off script. It was there. So it is my honor and my privilege to be here as your city manager. As the mayor referenced, I moved here almost 8 years ago with my lovely wife, who is here somewhere. And I have to tell you, I can't see her, but she's here. And this is the only time we can see each other is at these events. Because as the mayor announced, we're a very, very busy city, but a great city, and a city that I absolutely love, and my family and my 4 daughters share that love also. When you come to the city of Roseville, it doesn't take long to recognize this is really a great city, and it was a vision, right? It was created on a vision. It was created on a vision to have local control, because our early leaders knew that was the best way to provide the great quality of life that we enjoy today. And it is a great quality of life, and we do all enjoy it. And so I think that it's something that we want to make sure that we protect that vision and we continue to support that vision. The local control is very, very important. As the mayor described, the community and the city have worked very hard over the last several decades to make sure that this vision has come to the reality that we see today. A lot of times people don't remember Roseville without a Galleria, without an auto mall, without Roseville Parkway being 18 lanes, right? I think that that's something now that we see, and those of them haven't been here 20 years, feel that was always there. It wasn't. It took a lot of work to get it that way, and it didn't happen by accident. And as we mentioned, fall is when we kick off our budget. It's when we start our budget. We start a budget planning process, and we look at our fiscal year and what's coming. We start by looking at our property taxes, our sales taxes, and we make sure we look at all of our expenses, looking at our obligations first, because it's very important to our city council that we live within our means. And this is the beginning of that process. We wanted to look at this year. We are starting from a better position, right? As the mayor described, Measure B has certainly helped. And when we look at Measure B in place, those projections will call for an additional $16 to $19 million a year annually. This helps to begin to address some of our budget challenges, protecting essential services, stabilizing our general fund, and allowing for growth in high priority areas that were identified by our community. And I want to thank this community for the value it places on city services. We're encouraged by the support you provide to us each and every day. I want to take a second to thank our great staff. As many of you are aware, that public service is really more than a job, it's a calling. And when we look at it in our staff, that we're committed to providing the high quality of life not only you expect, you demand, and we appreciate delivering it. I didn't bring any water. That's okay though. As our workforce turns over, we've talked and we've shared, we're projecting about 30% of our workforce will turn over between the next 3 and 5 years, and we've seen that. Talking with an employee that actually came back, which happens quite often in the city of Roseville. People leave, realize it was a mistake, and come back. And he came back and he was shocked at all of the new people that we hired and had turned around. And I told him, I shared with him, it was over 100 this last year. And when you look at a workforce of only 1,100 to 1,200 full-time positions, that's significant. And so with that comes opportunities, but it also brings challenges. With new employees and new staff, we have a culture that we protect in the city, and we want to make sure that we spend time developing, training, and assimilating new folks into the city, because we do have high expectations for our staff, just as our community has high expectations for the services we deliver. We're working hard to ensure the city of Roseville remains an employer of choice throughout the state for the wide and highly specialized skills it takes to maintain the quality of life this community expects. While the funds from Measure B are being applied as the way Mayor Allard explained, we remain cautiously optimistic. As we know, and we look at our 5-year projections, we will continue to see cost increases from areas like federal and state mandates, from services, materials, and supplies, just as much as you do in businesses, and then also from our PERS, our pension liabilities, and then also labor costs. All of those will continue to increase, which means we will need to remain vigilant, that we'll have to make sure we continue to look for ways to identify operational efficiencies, reduce expenses, including pension costs, and increase revenue and reduce the size of our organization in non-priority areas. This is the feedback we receive from our community through Engage Roseville, and I know and we know it's what you expect us to do. I strongly believe that our job in local government is to build the most capacity to do the most good for the longest time for the entire community. And this, okay, I like it. And I'll share with you, this approach to growth is what will and continue to make Roseville, California, a premier Northern California city. Every day we're asked to consider different approaches to business, different scenarios, different agreements, and in evaluating these, we have to be committed to open and frank discussions. We have to weigh short-term gains with the unintended long-term consequences of the decisions we take today. There's a balance. It takes cooperation and it takes collaboration. It takes engagement. We have to make sure that what's best for the city and the community is part of every decision we make. We should rise together, all on the same high tides. I've been out in this community for hundreds of meetings. I hear over and over how proud of the decision our people have made to not only move here to raise a family, but to start a business. They're fiercely protective of the things that drew them here. They don't want to see this community erode. It's not only a financial investment that people make, it's an investment in a way of living. It's an investing in a community where we feel safe, where we know when we call police or fire, they're going to come and they're going to come quickly. It's an investment in a community where our kids can receive a top-notch education to prepare them for a changing environment and changing world and workforce. It's an investment in a retirement, of being a place where we can remain active and connected with so many recreational opportunities and volunteer opportunities. It's an investment in a community where we can find jobs and we can start a business. It's an investment in a community where people, regardless of where you live, can engage and interact in civic and educational resources, regardless of the location or where you live in the city. Those are some of the higher level issues I'd like to talk and share about. Some of the shift gears a little and talk about our departments. Roseville is the only full service city in the capital region. This means the city itself provides a full range of municipal services, including electricity, water, parks, libraries. All of our public works, police, and fire are all provided by the city. In other cities, many of these services are provided through a maze of entities: private sector, community facilities districts, special contracts. But here, we're all singing from the same sheet of music and working together. It's an advantage we have in managing a general fund budget of close to $160 million and a citywide budget exceeding $500 million. Public safety remains a top priority of our city council. This is reflected in this year's budget, which allocated 62% of our property and sales tax directly to public safety, fire, police, and medical services. This is including the addition of 6 new police officers, and one of those additional police officers are a motorcycle officer. Believe it or not, we actually do have speeding in Roseville, and we hear about it. And so one of those new police officers are going to be dedicated to traffic and helping making our roads more safe. With an eye on efficiency and effectiveness, our goal is always to maximize our value to the community and our community service. One example of that is our police department's social services unit. It's been successful in connecting those needing services with government and nonprofit organizations that provide them. It's a prevention-focused approach that is ultimately much less expensive than enforcement. The increase in homelessness has become a bigger and more visible issue in Roseville. This is due partly to a recent court decisions in federal and state levels. Impacts from a growing homeless population have increased our calls from service to dispatch, to our dispatch center, to our police, to our fire, and ultimately to our parks and recreation for cleanup. The development of our police department's social services is helping address the causes of these problems. It's not just treating the symptom, it's treating the problem as well. But more is needed. We continue to coordinate with local nonprofits to help address the issue. We've partnered with healthcare providers, and we engage in the regional discussions with the county to ensure that we are addressing this issue. And on the prevention side, our housing authority makes the most of the funds we receive from the federal government. The Housing Authority provides safe and clean housing for 600 plus families every year. That's more than 1,000 people through our rental assistance from the Housing Choice Voucher program we have in our city. It's the city's single strongest tool to help prevent homelessness, and it also brings nearly $5 million into the local economy. Our fire department is continuing to examine trends to ensure that we're meeting the changing needs within our community. Our fire department has experienced a significant growth for medical calls and service. At the same time, the calls for fires have remained flat. So we're very fortunate to have that trend in our community, and we can say a lot of it's attributed to the great infrastructure we have in our fire department, to our building and construction codes, but we're also looking and asking our internal and external experts to help analyze this new data, look at the trends we see, and make the best recommendations to optimize the response model that we have today. In addition to that, we're looking at opportunities to work with our neighboring jurisdictions to make sure we're using our resources as efficiently and effectively as we can to meet community needs more broadly on both local and regional levels. And when we talk about quality of life, the conversation usually turns to our well-maintained and robust park system. For over 30 years, Roseville has been known statewide for the quality and size of our park system. It remains a great source of pride, which I have to say the ability to maintain that is equally important. We're excited that the development of 2 regional parks, as the mayor mentioned, can continue, thankfully to the funds we have for Measure B, where we were also able to restore and expand our library hours, which I can tell you we heard over and over again through our Engage Roseville process and the importance of that. So we're very happy to be able to do that. And as we look at some of the funding challenges we discussed, infrastructure is certainly one of those, particularly roadways. Providing an effective transportation network, both regionally and locally, it's not only a quality of life issue, it's a huge economic development driver. From repairing cracks to resurfacing our roadways, we are underfunding that maintenance approximately by about $5 million annually. And we're contending with funding formulas from the state and federal government that continue to put a burden on local cities to provide a greater percentage of funding to expand our roadways, more than we have ever before. Mayor Allard spoke about the importance of a coordinated regional approach to raise those revenues to help fund and deal with those issues. Infrastructure is almost more than parks and roads. It includes information technology, the public safety needs, cybersecurity, our entire financial system. We are invested in these critical areas, fully knowing that they will continue to put pressures on the general fund, but they are critically important to our operations moving forward. And I'd like to switch gears now and talk about our utilities, particularly being part of our full-service city. And I'm pleased to report to you that Roseville's utilities are recognized nationally and statewide for leadership in policy, new technologies, and innovation. Despite a healthy rainy season, the issue of water reliability remains front and center. New development plays an important role in our water strategy, helping to fund infrastructure that allows us to obtain, share, and store water. Our City Council took a significant step forward 2 years ago by expanding that, by supporting the Sites Reservoir that will be developed near Chico. This will further diversify our water portfolio by expanding our storage opportunities in the wet years that we have. Changes in the energy industry continue to evolve quickly, and we're remaining vigilant in the changing legislative and regulatory environment to stay ahead of the curve, ensure Roseville Electric continues offering new opportunities and new solutions to our customers. We're weighing how new laws regarding renewable energy will affect our customers and the utility in general. Roseville has one of the highest solar densities in the nation. This year, we opened a community solar project, allowing more solar access to our residents, those that are interested in going green. And we continue to innovate. This helps our customers conserve, be efficient, keep our rates low, and have new access to all the new technologies that are out there. As you can see, we've only scratched the surface. There's a lot going on in this city, and I can't tell you I wouldn't want to be any other place. I truly do love it here, and I appreciate your support. And at this point, I'd like to turn it back over to Mayor Allard to share some other high-level things that are going on. Thank you.
Okay, so we're almost done. Thanks for your patience. I just have 14 more pages. 13. So thanks, Dom. The issue that's dominating our city council meetings throughout the fall is district elections, and I've had a lot of people talk to me even this morning about what does that mean. In August, the council started discussing a possible move to district-based elections from the at-large system we've always had here in Roseville. The decision to consider a district-based election format isn't due to a philosophical change by the City Council. Rather, it's a strategic and proactive move to potentially save the city millions of dollars in legal fees. The change is motivated by recent lawsuits against other California cities and special districts related to the California Voter Rights Act. To date, no public agency that has fought to remain in an at-large voting system has won a legal challenge, costing millions of dollars in legal fees. We're considering this now before we get a demand letter for several reasons. First, the path forward for 2020 City Council elections will be settled sooner rather than later, minimizing chaos that might otherwise result from receiving a letter further into the election cycle. This gives potential candidates more time to prepare and understand the new format. Roseville would determine the district boundaries instead of having them imposed by a court. Roseville is in the midst of a once-a-decade charter review process, part of which determines our governance structure. This change aligns well with the timing of that effort. And Roseville will avoid a one-time payment of about $30,000 to one of the law firms that are sending these demand letters and will avoid the costs of litigation. This month and next, we're asking for public input on how districts should be drawn. There's a lot of information, as well as a tool on our city website to draw maps and provide input, or you can send your ideas to the city clerk's office. We also have information posted about our once-a-decade charter review process that's underway now. That deserves a little more information and explanation. How we govern ourselves is the heart of our democracy. For the City of Roseville, the document that governs how we conduct business is our charter. Every 10 years, the Charter Review Commission determines whether amendments should be recommended to the City Council as time, perspectives, and circumstances evolve and change. Once City Council decides which amendments to place on the ballot, the voters make the final decision. Excuse me. The Charter describes term limits, how the mayor is selected, how council vacancies are filled, the spending authority of the city manager, and how the city enacts, amends, and repeals ordinances. It also covers the budget, council rules, bond sales, contract bids, municipal election, and utility franchises. The Charter is our city's constitution. It's important that our residents make their voices heard on these key policy areas. We want to hear from our community. The Commission meets every third Monday through April 2020 from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. in our City Council chambers. The meetings are broadcast and archived in the city's website and in our government access channel. I finally wanted to let you know about our council strategic planning workshop that we're conducting next week. The City Council and management staff are spending 2 days next Wednesday and Thursday to set the long-term vision for our city and establish our top priorities for the next several years. We'll be reviewing our city's mission, vision, and values, key accomplishments, important issues we face, best practices, and the capacity and timelines to tackle the priorities we set. The workshop will be at the Martha Riley Library in West Roseville, and we hope that you can join us. Roseville is an innovative and growing city, and it's an exciting time to be here. In the 15 years I've served on commissions and on city council, I've seen our vision for this city become a reality over and over in so many ways. It's an honor to serve as your mayor, and I want to thank the city council, our city staff, and our community for your strong support for the quality of life we enjoy in Roseville. This is a great community, and I'm proud to serve it. And together we'll continue to make Roseville the community choice in the Capital Region. I'd like to once again express my thanks to our sponsors. Thank you for your generosity and support. And to Adventist Health for hosting the State of the City address this morning. Let's give them a round of applause, please. And I'd like to do just one final thing. I would like to ask Roseville City staff to please stand because I'd like to acknowledge them for all the work that they do to make this city great. Please stand if you're a Roseville City employee. Thank you all so very much for coming this morning. Appreciate you being here, and you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.